Good evening. My name is Bryce Payton, and this is my AEP 858 case study. Every day counts. To summarize the case, Mr. Rhodes would be me, take on my first principal job at Golden Oak High School. Golden Oak serves 965 students and has the lowest attendance rate of any high school in the district. Most of the staff have lots of experience, and they have low turnover ratio for their teachers. Most of them have at least 10 years of experience in their current positions at the district. Dr. Newman, which would be the superintendent, has indicated to me that the absenteeism has begun to be an issue, and he would like me to look into the problem. At the end of the first semester, excuse me, I myself, Mr. Rhodes, began to look at the data collected on the school attendance policy and the attendance of the students in the school. So I began to look into 5 specific students, 5 of the 659 students that had each missed more than 10 days of school. And these 5 students came across different issues causing them to miss so many days, vacations, church functions, injuries, etc. So now I am put in a situation where I must decide how to go forward and to get the absentee issue under control to help student improvement. So some legal or ethical issues. So legally, Golden Oak High School, the absentee policy follows straight from the state requirements. It was in Prince versus Massachusetts, where I believe the 9-year-old was not made to attend school by the parents, and the parents failed to provide the welfare of their child. So that could come into play. Parents could face consequences for not sending their children to school by the county attorneys. Schools could be held accountable by the state for attendance rates so low. Students are obviously harmed by missing so much instruction time. So ethical, there's no breach of contract. Teachers and athletic directors shouldn't be making decisions on whether students are excused or unexcused. They need to determine whether the student is there or not present in their class, and then the office needs to determine whether their absence is determined by excused or unexcused for that. So what has happened to this point? The first year principal, myself, Mr. Rhodes, was analyzing 5 of the 659 students' attendance for the first semester to determine the next course of action after they have missed at least 10 days of school, after the superintendent, Dr. Newman, had put me on the absentee at the top of my to-do list. So the people that were involved, obviously we've been myself, the principal, Mr. Rhodes, Dr. Newman, the superintendent, all the staff at Golden Oak, and the 5 students that were specifically named, Karen, Tyrone, Christina, Carl, and John. The place, Golden Oak High School, it comes from a middle-class families, very diverse, starting to become very, very diverse, adding much more Hispanic and Asian students as their families are working in the area. The program is a high school, 9 through 12. It serves 965 students and was noted to have many extracurricular activities for all students to be able to get involved. So review and prioritize. The situation has already affected students. A few of the 5 that were named, they were already struggling grade-wise, or were already on a trajectory going down with the absences as well. Obviously could be damaging to the students in the short term. Testing scores continuing to drop off, how that affects their extracurricular activities, as well as long term. One or two of them were sophomores, and it's only going to get worse if this behavior is allowed. School could be affected with low scores on testing, as well as not being able to finish testing if students aren't coming to school. And also, you could lose enrollment. Some students could just pack up and go to a different district where things run a little bit smoother. Definitely don't want that to happen. Mr. Rhodes, Golden Oak High School, students, parents, staff, all stakeholders, community members, all have an important stake in the outcome of this of the decision. Dr. Newman hasn't been consulted yet, and I think he needs to be relatively soon, and we'll get to that. And I do have enough information to make a decision. So I identified 3 options and some possible consequences of them. Option number 1 would just be to do nothing. Take the information I have, take the data that I have, and use it for nothing. Just push it aside and hope that it gets better. That nothing, consequence could be nothing that will change or get worse. I could lose my job with the attendance rate continuing to decrease. Option number 2, meet with the 5 students and their parents to discuss ways for improvement of their specific attendance. Yes, that helps in the short term, but then that's only 5 of the 650 that were missed more than 10 days. It doesn't fix the root of the problem or use the data correctly. You're taking a small sample size. And option number 3, discuss these 5 individuals with the superintendent to analyze their absences and other data to develop a plan that would focus on a parent and community involvement and taking time to go over the absentee policy with all the staff so we can work as one. Negative to this or consequence to this, Dr. Newman could be upset with the first semester data. And also staff could think that they know more than me. They've been there longer than me. They know the community better, et cetera, that they don't want to listen to what I have to say. And a lot of them are involved in this anyways. So evaluating these options, a pro to option number 1, which is do nothing, will require no effort. I just pretend like it doesn't happen, just move on. Obviously, a con would be Dr. Newman would not be very happy with my performance or what I'm doing with my job, and the students still suffer. And that's the most important thing, is that the students are still missing school and they're still suffering academically because of this. Option number 2, we'll be able to get the students and parents' attention on the issue. In the school system, as soon as you start getting the parents involved, as soon as you start threatening things like the county attorney, most of the time you get a reaction that you want. Sometimes you won't. I feel like I, Mr. Rhodes, am doing something to make an improvement, so I feel a little bit of self-confidence that I'm actually doing something. Con would be not having Dr. Newman, not involving Dr. Newman. He wouldn't be involved in that scenario. And staff wouldn't know about the data or any changes that they need to make. And so option number 3, pros would be staff would be informed of the first semester data that would be that laid out for them, clear direction from teachers and staff. They would have the correct knowledge about what's going on. All stakeholders will be informed. I think it'll help community involvement. Focus will be on student improvement. Some cons to this, your staff could resist, like I mentioned earlier, and students could also transfer schools. They just could be tired of the way it's going and not seeing any improvement. So the best option would be option number 3, which was discuss these 5 individuals with the superintendent to analyze their absences and other data to develop a plan that would focus on parent and community involvement and taking time, especially taking time to go over the policies with the staff so everybody can be on the same page. I believe that this plan reaches all the stakeholders and allows all the concerns to be raised in a professional manner that uses the data effectively. So lastly, implementing my decision. So first, I would speak with Dr. Newman and show him the data that I have in the folders that I have with the students, the 5 specific students, to inform him the various ways and reasons why students are missing. Next, I would make time during professional development or work days when you come back to school from Christmas break to address the staff regarding all facets of the absentee policies and just inform them about what's going on and why it's going on and the miscommunication between teachers, parents, and the principal, where teachers are okaying things that they shouldn't be able to be okaying. The excused versus unexcused should not be up to them. Inform them of the state and district policy and their expectations as teachers. It's kind of what I just said. They should know what their expectations are in the classroom and what they can and can't do, and that needs to be laid out specifically to all the staff. Next, I would positively put out a statement to parents, students, and to the community of the second semester expectations. Then I would provide incentives for students to attend school regularly with the help of the staff and the community. I think it'd be great to get the community involved, and they do. There's certain activities that can be done with the help of the staff and the community to reward students that are doing the right thing and giving consequences to those that aren't. And finally, have a small group of staff, a committee, along with myself, to meet regularly to assure that we are tracking and analyzing the absence data to see a correlation to the student improvement. And that's exactly what we're after, is to be on the right trajectory. And that's about it. So thank you very much.